What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's video, and it's now June. It is now the summer, and growing up, June was kind of the start of my busy season. Between Girl Scout camp, 4-H camp, VBS, and any of the activities that Mom and I signed myself up for, I was a pretty busy girl. And kudos to my mom, because 90% of the time, I'm pretty sure she signed me up for things simply so I was doing something other than spending the whole summer with my nose in a book. But one of the things that I always did, and Mom and I kind of did together, was Girl Scout camp. Now, for first, second, and third graders, it was a day camp. And it started about 3 o'clock and went to about 7 or 8 o'clock at night. And then, starting in fourth grade, you had overnight camp as well. But one of the things that I remember so much as a camper was the dessert. One of the things that we made was called dessert pizza. Now you're probably going, Lena, that's not exclusive to Girl Scout camp. No, it's not. But I have really fond memories of that, and I decided we're going to make a home version today. So I've got my ingredients. Let's get started and let's make a dessert pizza. You may be asking, Lena, what the heck is a dessert pizza? Now, let me explain to you a little bit of how we made it at camp, and then we'll just go into how we're going to make it here at home. Dessert pizza started out with a cookie crust. We got to sitting down at one of our Girl Scout meetings before camp. We got to pick out of our camp cookbook, because our Girl Scout camp had a camp cookbook. And actually, they sold them for like $1 to $2 a piece so that you could make them at home when camp was over. I can't talk today. So we would sit down at our meeting and we'd say, okay, we need a main dish. And they would write down on the chalkboard in the classroom, because our Girl Scout meetings were in one of the churches, all the different ideas, and then we'd close our eyes and vote. But I will tell you, one of the desserts that was always on the menu was dessert pizza. You start out with your cookie crust. It could be sugar cookie, it could be chocolate chip. You make your crust, and then you put it in what we called a cook box. And a cook box was a cardboard box that was wax lined. If I remember correctly, we got them from a butcher factory plant in Emporia, and we actually rented them from our Girl Scout council. It was on one of our lists of things that we had to pick up from council before camp started. I remember that because I was camp director one year and had to sign for all that stuff. Then inside of this box, there were 4 soda cans that were just full of sand, a cookie cooling rack, and a metal pie pan. So what you did was, when you picked up your groceries from camp for the day from the camp kitchen, in a Ziploc bag that looked something like this, would be about half full of charcoal briquettes. Probably, if I remember correctly, like 10 of them. All I remember is sitting in the middle of the Marion County Lake Hall in one of the kitchens with like hospital gloves, Ziploc bags, and a big bag full of charcoal from the grocery store, counting out briquettes into Ziploc bags. That's what happens when you are the daughter of someone who's helping with day camp. You get put to work too. So you put the charcoals in your fire that you've started with adult supervision, and once they were white, you pulled them out with tongs, put them in the pie pan, it went in the box. You put your cookie dough on top until it was about halfway done. Then you covered it in toppings, and whatever toppings you wanted, like M&Ms, chocolate chips, marshmallows, you name it, and we probably put it on there. And then you let it finish cooking. You pulled it out, let it cool while you were having supper. And then after supper, we may have had a craft, or we may have had something else going on. But before we went home, we got to have dessert. I just have such fond memories of that. And like I said, we're going to make our own today. So the first thing we're going to need is some sort of cookie base. Now, you can do this however you want, but I've got a couple of different options here. Having made this with several different types of cookie dough growing up, I highly recommend going with a sugar cookie base. It makes it much easier to do toppings. So I have this option that you can do. You can buy the Pillsbury cookie dough, like bake and eat, that you break them apart. If you don't want to make the whole batch, you don't have to. You can make just a couple. Or the one I'm going to be using today is just going to your local grocery store bakery and picking up some pre-made sugar cookies. I will say, if you're going to bake them yourself at home, you want them completely cool before making my recipe. So we're going to start out with a sugar cookie. Now, the next thing you're going to need is frosting. Now, I just picked up a container of Funfetti frosting because it came with sprinkles. And the thing is you don't need a whole lot. Grab me a spoon here. And one of the things that I like about making dessert pizza individually like this is there are so many different places that you can make this. I have done this at Girl Scout camp, but ours was in the box oven. We did this at 4-H camp. I think growing up one time, it was just, it was rainy and they were trying to keep us occupied. You could do it for a sleepover. You could do it for vacation Bible school. You could do it for a classroom party at school. And if the way you would do it for an activity where there's multiple kids, or even a slumber party, use little individual condiment cups, put your icing in the cups, snap the lid on it, and just hand them out. That way, not everyone is into the icing container. They have their own. But since it's just me, we're going with the Big Daddy here. I'm just going to take a scoop of icing and we're going to plop it onto the cookie. Now, you can obviously do this with a knife. I don't have a plastic knife right now, and that's okay. A spoon works just as well. I think it actually works a little bit better because you don't have to keep going back for icing. And the nice thing about this particular dessert is you can make it with as much or as little as you want. Okay, so here's my cookie, my crust, and my sauce. Now it comes to toppings. Again, I guarantee you have some toppings for this in your cabinets. Just out of mine, I pulled some mini peanut M&Ms. Just grabbed a few. And we're just going to sprinkle them on top. Make sure to seal this bad boy up. Then I have some chocolate chips. And I'm pretty sure these are from Aldi's. Yep. And these are just mini chocolate chips. Grab a few of those. That's too many. And again, if you want to do this at some sort of event where there is multiple children and you don't want them into the bag, once again, you can do little condiment cups with different toppings in them and have them set out. And you can say, okay, everybody can pick 2 condiment cups of toppings. However you want to do that. But condiment cups come in so handy for kids' activities when it comes to food, because all you have to do is pre-prep it and hand it to them and it's done. Yes, there's a little bit of trash waste involved, but it's also much more sanitary. And then our sprinkles. The whole reason we bought the Funfetti sprinkles, y'all. Open up our... There has got to be a better way to open these than by sticking my finger straight into the foil, because my got the heebie-jeebies again. Okay, so we got our cookie. We have some sprinkles. And voila. Now I have my own personal dessert pizza brings back childhood memories, and is very tasty. Perfect. So that's it for today's video. Let me know in the comments if you know what dessert pizza is, if you're going to make it, or if you remember making it growing up. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.